Welcome back, Heartland family, to the Healthy with Heartland podcast. I'm Simon. I'm filling in for your usual host, the Sultan of Sourcing, Justin, the Money Man Freistadt. He's actually helping families eat cleaner, safer, healthier food right now at the moment, so we do applaud him for that. And we are sad that he could not be here. And we have a lot of great things that we're going to talk about today. But before we do, Shannon, what are the announcements?
All right. Welcome back, Heartland family. Few quick things. If you're not following us on Facebook, make sure to do so. Check us out on Instagram and, of course, on YouTube. We post all of the podcast episodes on there. We want to say a quick congratulations and a shout out to Jennifer and Benjamin Vorhar. They won our Surf and Turf survey for the month of July. So congratulations on that. If you are a Heartland customer, you can place your reorder in the month of August and receive a Murray's Family Farms whole chicken absolutely free. So make sure to enjoy that with your order as long as you place it before August 31st. If you are interested in scheduling a pop-up, we do still have a little bit of availability, so please reach out to us. We'll post a link in the comment section below where you can schedule one if you're interested. Our amazing events manager, Kat, will go ahead and reach out to you. Another quick shout out to our Heartland Foodies group. Thank you so much for continuing to post the amazing food photos. If you didn't catch our episode last week, we did do a deep dive into some of those awesome photos that you guys are posting. So check those out. And we are announcing again our giveaway. So we're going to do a 5K group giveaway when we reach 5,000 members in the foodie group. So make sure you go to the group. You'll see that post pinned to the top. Invite 5 friends to the group and comment on that post and let us know that you've invited your 5. So when we reach 5K members, one of those lucky people who posted in the comments will win $2,000 of amazing Heartland Farm Source products. Wonderful. So that is super exciting. And with that, we can go ahead and get into the episode.
Before we do, I just want to let everybody know that is watching. Go ahead and put in the comment section where you're watching from. We'd love to know. And we do appreciate you for watching. If you have any questions throughout the podcast, just post them down in the comments section. Awesome. And so the subject and what we really wanted to get into today was the main diets of 2021. And before we actually get into the ones that were, actually out there and that are most, well known and that kind of thing, I just wanted to go over the word diet. Shannon, do you think diet has a negative connotation?
I think it can, because sometimes diets are seen as like a temporary thing, right? Versus like, the way that you eat or your lifestyle, which are a lot of terms that people use. So I think it can have a negative connotation to it. I think that, structure and having like a routine can be a positive thing. So I think it could be a useful tool, but I don't necessarily, agree with, going on, diets. And we're not here again to recommend or tell you what to eat, what diet to go on. We just want to present a little bit, I think, of background and information about, the diets that are out there, things that are working for other people, and then just a little bit about the information and, the research that's out there that we think could be helpful.
Absolutely. So, I think also on that same subject, it's worth noting that I think diet and nutrition kind of get jumbled into kind of like one thing. And I really believe that a diet is really just a way of eating. And like you said, people do jump onto the newest fads and, there's a new way of eating. Some doctor or somebody kind of releases a way of eating and people try it and it works for some people and it doesn't work for anybody. I'm a total believer in, that everyone is it's different for everyone.
Yeah. Bio-individuality means that, different things are going to work for different people. And obviously each individual is different. And I think what's important and why I think, getting into a routine of a certain diet can be helpful is that you begin to listen to your body. Absolutely. And you begin to kind of, know the things that maybe interrupt or affect you in a negative way versus the things that you, consume or eat and they make you feel really great. So I think that's kind of like a good distinction that we could make there.
Right. And then nutrition, it involves more than just like eating a good diet, right? It's about nourishment on pretty much every level. So nutrition and diet, while they can be kind of conjured into one thing, are two totally separate different things. And the way we're going to use diet today is really just about a simple way of eating. So some of them are pretty restrictive, some of them are not. And we'd like to know in the comments, what kind of diet do you eat? Are you just eating the standard American diet? Do you follow a certain diet of all the names, kind of the ones that we're going to go through? Just let us know in the comments what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And so with that, we'll jump into the first one.
Yeah. So just to kind of go over the top 3, well, I think 2 of them tied for second. So the top 3 best overall diets for 2021, according to U.S. News, they talked about, the Mediterranean diet was a popular one, the DASH diet, which I think we can get into a little bit about, and the Flexitarian diet, which I had not heard of before.
Is that where you just kind of, I think that's like the beach body building diet where you just flex on people?
I don't think so.
No?
Oh, definitely not.
Oh, sorry. Probably not. That's why we're getting into it today, to find out what it really is all about.
Yeah. So flexitarian, just to talk a little bit about it, it's, I think, a marriage of the 2 words flexible and vegetarian. So the term was coined more than a decade ago. There was a book written by Dawn Jackson Blattner. So if you haven't heard of it, please check it out. It's called the Flexitarian Diet. And basically she goes into how you can eat more of a vegetarian style, but that you can still enjoy and incorporate, meats and things like that when you want to. So I think really overall, it's just about being flexible. And I think that kind of gets back to what we were talking about with bioindividuality, is that, you're going to eat what feels good to your body.
Right.
And as long as you can listen to your body and, maneuver through those cravings and things that, we all go through,
right,
you'll kind of be better off.
Yep. Absolutely. So what was the next one?
So the next one was the DASH diet.
I'm not too familiar with the DASH diet.
Neither am I. So the DASH diet stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension, which, that makes sense. Okay. So
that's always a good thing.
It emphasizes foods that you've been always told to eat, like fruits and vegetables, talks about whole grains, lean proteins, and low-fat dairies. So I guess this is, you're trying to deflate, increases in blood pressure by using nutrients like potassium, calcium, things like that.
I mean, lean proteins, sign me up all day. The DASH diet. It says it's number 2, but I haven't really heard of that one that much, but maybe some people out there have. Let us know in the comments what you think.
Yeah. And then the third one was the Mediterranean diet, which I was familiar with this. There is a lot of books, a lot of information out there about it. So it just talks a little bit about, a diet low in red meat, sugar, and saturated fats. It's a secret. The secret is an active lifestyle and weight control. So I think what's important about it is it talks about eating healthy, all the time at each meal, using a collection of all the food groups, and it helps your blood sugar to stay more stabilized, and eating less saturated fats can help decrease your risk for, heart-related diseases and things like that.
Yep. I've heard of the Mediterranean. And I think it's heavy on like the, like salmon and olives and things like that. Which, isn't necessarily like a bad thing.
Overall, it ranked number 1 in best diets overall. A lot of people were, I guess, doing plant-based versions of the Mediterranean diet. It ranked number 1 in best plant-based diets as well. And it was in the top 25 for best fast weight loss diets. So if that's something, you're interested in, it's never a positive thing to lose weight super fast, but if you are interested in losing weight the right way, doing it through nutrition and food is definitely the way to go.
Right. And I see here that it's drew on the eating habits of Greece, Italy, and Spain. So hence the name, right? The Mediterranean. I guess it's just a way that they eat, and it has become a certain way of eating for many people now. And it's really just eating habits of the land surrounding the Mediterranean Sea. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's not a structured diet. You're basically on your own. You try to figure out your macros or how many calories you should be eating to maintain or lose weight. And then, you kind of go from there. You can eat a variety of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans, nuts, legumes, olive oils. I know they're big on the oils. And then, of course, herbs and spices. And I do believe that they incorporate more seafood into the diet as well.
Some of that cobia.
What I like too is You can focus on a lot on like things that you should eat versus like, what you can't eat. I feel like a lot of times diets talk about things that you should stay away from or things that they're restricting you from.
Exactly.
Or stuff that you just downright can't have. Whereas if you're looking into, a lifestyle change, some of these more lifestyle type diets like the Mediterranean diet can be a better option because they're telling you what you can eat versus what you should not eat.
And a healthy diet, I mean, it can improve and maintain optimal health. That's why it's such an important thing, right?
Yeah.
But I think if you stick to whole foods, which most of these do, I think you're going to be in a better situation either way. And then you just play it out and you see how you're feeling on each of these diets. And if you can find one and you can stick to it, it's always good.
Yeah. There was another diet that was kind of thrown in there. It's called the Ornish Diet. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
I guess it's from it was Dr. Ornish.
Created by Dr. Dean Ornish, clinical professor of medicine from the University of California. It was developed to help people feel better, live longer, lose weight, and gain health. So I don't know, what gets better than that? Right. That sounds like kind of what we're all interested in. So in terms of the things that you can eat, you trade refined carbohydrates like bread, white breads, and pastas for whole grain options like quinoa, or whole grain bread. Of course, avoid saturated fat, which I think that's becoming sort of like a trend. Of course, you should avoid saturated fats as possible.
Right.
Stock up on your fruits and vegetables. And then, of course, they talk about spending time with family and friends, adding meditation or stress management techniques to your routine, which I think you kind of hinted at when you talked about how whole health is more than just your diet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so true. And I mean, maybe a lot of people don't know that are listening or that are watching, our backstory, but I think it was, the diet that changed, that we changed essentially was one of the biggest opportunities for us. Living a super unhealthy lifestyle was just that diet. And then from the diet turned into, Spartan races and exercise and all that kind of stuff. So if you just start somewhere, and I think a good diet, whatever that may look like for you, is always a great choice.
Yeah.
So what was another one?
Those were the main diets that they went over because, like I said, we wanted to focus on things that were closest to lifestyle versus, like something that's super strict or where you have to, use specific products. There were a couple other diets, Weight Watchers diet. Of course, you're familiar with Weight Watchers. The Mayo Clinic diet, which maybe, you want to talk about a little bit.
Well, I think the Mayo Clinic diet, it may be kind of similar to, now I'm
the Ornish Diet?
No, Dr. Mark Hyman. Dr. Mark Hyman is someone, who we read and we follow, and he does something that's called a Pegan diet, which is a paleo-vegan diet, which just means, you eat meat and you do all those kind of things, but I think you limit the dairy, and I don't know if it's, something that as I just get older, I feel like I get more lactose intolerant. So cutting out the dairy for me wasn't a super huge thing, even though I love cheese. But I just try not to eat it as much anymore. So doing, like a Pegan diet, again, it's just basically following the way, I guess the Paleolithic era or whatnot, the way that they ate. So, I enjoy doing it that way. But I do incorporate, still sometimes a little bit of rice here and there, and some of the like corn, I think is one of the things you can't have. But I think the Mayo Clinic diet is similar to what Dr. Mark Hyman kind of talks about. So
yeah, it just kind of overviews recalibrating your eating habits. So breaking bad habits and replacing them with good ones. I guess they have their own unique food pyramid. So we used to, a long time ago, have like the traditional food pyramid where you'd have the grains on the bottom and all your sweets and your sugars on the top.
Right.
That has since been replaced, thank goodness, and with a plate. But that is a little different than what the Mayo Clinic follows. They have their own sort of diagram pyramid, and it focuses on fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. So there's no kind of new thing in there. It's sort of similar to what all the other diets are encouraging you to eat.
Right.
It just talks about understanding your calories and your macros so that you can either maintain, lose, or gain weight depending on what your goals are.
Right. And I think, it lends a lot to saying, like people are always talking about incorporating more fruits and more vegetables into your diet. And I think it's also important and worth noting, you know what I mean? Like the quality, if you are going to eat meat, and I love eating meat and I just feel better eating meat. And some people have just a straight carnivore diet and they just, all they do is eat meat. And, you know, I think it's talks to the certain point that the quality of the food and the meat that you're eating also plays a big part into it. Because I've had, you know, I mean, people tell me that, oh, hey, you know, like I used to eat burgers and they wouldn't make me feel good. And I don't think I can eat red meat. And then they've had a clean burger and they've had, you know what I mean, like a clean cut of beef. And they're like, hey, yeah, it doesn't like feel the same. And I don't feel the same after eating it. And I can digest it a little bit better than, you know, another piece of meat that probably wasn't the same quality. So I think it really plays a lot into also like how things are raised. And that's something that we talk about here all the time, especially with Justin.
Yeah, as I say, Justin could probably maybe talk about it a little more in depth, but
right.
He says, you know, the digestion with, you know, specific commodity products can cause a lot of issues for people. So getting a clean product, like Simon mentioned, without chemicals, hormones, you know, any of those antibiotics, chemicals, and eating a clean product sometimes can have a different digestive outcome. And earlier you mentioned paleo, which is like, I think an interesting diet, if you could call it one, because they tell you like the things that they say you can eat versus what they say you should not eat or you should avoid. Yeah. They say you can eat like as much as you'd like. So if you're eating, you know, salad or fruit, you know, you may not be able to eat dairy if you're following that diet strictly, but you can eat as many blueberries as you'd like, or you can have a large bowl of salad, however large, but you fill up a lot faster on those, you know, nutrient dense items. But
Whole Foods.
It's just a perspective, a different way of looking at it.
Absolutely. And I think it's, you know what I mean? It's always good to re-engage your body with different foods and taking away certain foods and just seeing how you feel, because you never know. And I don't think any one person is going to be tied to a certain diet their entire life and think that, you know what I mean, it's just going to be consistent and it's just going to be the same. I think that if you're concentrated on eating whole foods and you, you know what I mean, you try not to eat things out of a bag or in the middle of the aisles of the grocery store, and you just, again, concentrate on things that are, you know, whole, I think, you know, whatever diet you go with is going to be a good choice. And at the same time, I think it's always good. Like we also sometimes fast. And so sometimes not eating is a certain way of a diet that, I mean, you know, really helps as well.
Yeah. And I just pulled up this one as well. It's called the Mind Diet, and it's a combination of the DASH and the Mediterranean diet. So it zeroes in on foods in each that specifically affect brain health. So it can lower the risk of mental decline, according to the initial research that's been done about it.
Right.
There's, you know, of course, there's no surefire way to prevent, you know, Alzheimer's and diseases like that. But eating healthful maintains, you know, mainstays such as like leafy greens, nuts, berries are kind of what they're encouraging on this diet.
And I mean, you said something, but I don't know if you can't directly relate, you know what I mean, some of those diseases to diet, but for me personally, I mean, if in my personal opinion, I feel like you can, right? Like if you can control the things that you're eating, because, you know, like I said, like my history, my dad was diabetic, and I say the key word was because the way we were eating before kind of led him to becoming diabetic, and then he changed the way he was eating, and then now he's not a diabetic. So I feel like, you know what I mean, you can heal yourself with the things that you are putting in your mouth and you know, the things that you're eating. But I think that it just takes a little bit of education and some time for you to actually figure out, hey, how do I feel when I'm eating this? Do I feel bloated? After I eat this, am I really full? Does it, I forget the actual word for it, but does it cure the craving that I had, right? Because sometimes you're searching for something to eat and you think you're craving something. And then for me, sometimes it doesn't really crave that. And I didn't want that, you know what I mean, in the first place. Yeah. So all of those things I feel like play into your diet and the way that you're eating and the nutrition as a whole of your body.
Yeah. The Mind Diet, it says every day you eat at least 3 servings of whole grains, a salad, another vegetable, along with drinking a glass of wine. Interesting. On most days you snack on nuts, and every other day you'll eat a half a cup of beans. Interesting. At least twice a week you'll have poultry and a half a cup serving of berries. Blueberries are best. And you dine on fish at least every week. Plus olive oil is what you primarily use when cooking at home. Interesting.
I like to use avocado oil.
Me too.
It's got a higher burn temp, right? So I hear.
Yep. So I think, that's pretty much like a good overview of some of the most popular diets. I think we talked about like, within the top 10. I believe that the Mediterranean diet and what were the other ones? The DASH diet and the Flexitarian diet were probably the highest ranking just in the this U.S. News website article. But we encourage you to, check it out for yourself. They have a lot of great statistics, information, recipes, and things on here. If you're interested in cooking some of our Heartland products and you need to know some recipes for those, you can definitely check out our Heartland Foodie group because we have no shortage of recipes on there for you. And unless there's anything else you'd like to discuss before we wrap up, Simon, I'll pass that on over to you.
Well, we do appreciate you all for tuning in. And again, put in the comments, let us know any kind of, subjects you guys would like us to cover. Again, big, huge shout out to Justin. Sorry he couldn't be here, but again, he's helping families eat cleaner, safer, healthier food. Folks, we'll see you next time. Appreciate you guys joining us. Signing off.